understanding everything as a holographic fractal and microcosm reflected in macrocosm. I understand these 4 super cosmic points that are gravitationally influencing us. I'm mentioning that because there are many other black holes that also have an impact, but these 4 feel like octaves of each other. So I feel them, see them, sense them through people's charts as evolutionary points. So if the Galactic Center at high degrees of Sagittarius is in our chart based on the life area or true planet that may be sitting there, or even just based on the life area to make it simple, high degrees of Sagittarius inside our circle of being through all the archetypes is the area where we have a really high potential of reaching higher levels of consciousness, anchoring higher wisdom into our physical reality. So where is the high degrees of Sagittarius in your chart? Look at that. And then reflect on any opportunities that you have. And especially every 28 days when a moon is anchoring that 27-degree point, do you hear the higher guidance of source that is always evolving, always spiraling towards next adventure and knowing itself as creator being? Where is that in your chart? And how are you embodying that in your own reality? Where is God asking you to have that perspective of evolved Sagittarius archetype? Where can you bring divine solutions into your physical experience? As you do that, as you get to know yourself in all your beautiful, intricate design through all different galactic astrology clues that you have in your chart, you start relaxing into your body, your spirit is embodied. Then the natural next octave of evolution that you're naturally going to be guided through life is starting to attracting others into your reality who are also at that level of awakened, expanded being. We're witnessing it here in our community. So that's the next point of evolution, Supra Galactic Center at early degrees of Libra. There, we are learning to recognize how to embrace relationships in a balanced, diplomatic way, how to master relationships. But I also mentioned inside the Super Galactic Center lesson that there is a nuance, there is a difference, depending whether you have a planet anchoring Super Galactic Center through early degrees of Libra or through late degrees of Virgo. If it's Libra, there is a theme of insatiable desire for mastering relationships or for relationships to fulfill you, but it's a black hole experience. It'll never satisfy you until you reach the love for God, for divine inside you, and that will satisfy you. And then as a result, you have this amazing black hole magnetism that is just drawing people in, but you are anchored in this holy grail of infinite love that's unconditional, that's beautiful. That's really what Super Galactic Center is calling us. And if it's anchored through high degrees of Virgo, there is the black hole insatiable need for more information to be better, to be perfect, but it never works that way. So essentially, the call of Super Galactic Center through high degrees of Virgo is to recognize the singularity point of the black hole inside your being that will connect you to infinite wisdom, to the source of all information. And that's where you start drawing in from, and that becomes that magnetic pull of you drawing people in because you have access, you've integrated the infinite wisdom through that point. Once you get to that point, you then are called, and life will guide you to the next stage of your evolution, where you start interacting with leaders who are inspiring their own communities. That usually also happens in a space that we have. Like I see that now with my practitioners, that I now interact because I integrated these points out. I now interact with leaders who are magnetizing their own communities. And how can we embrace each other's paths? How can we support each other? And the polar opposite of that would be hierarchy structure, where we feel threatened by other leaders, but we're dissolving that, right, in our reality.
Okay.
The great attractor point is of embracing all perspective. We are at mid degrees of Sagittarius, and the lighter or the highest expression of the great attractor in our life is to embody frequency of acceptance of every perspective as valid, as important, as unique. We see everyone and everything as fractals of holographic universe. We are all one, we are all connected. And when we embody that, people that are magnetized to us, they feel seen and acknowledged as good enough, as perfect, as unique, as needed, as valid. And that alone is highly activating and really, powerful magnetic point of the black hole, but also activation point. The lower octave of the great attractor would be feeling like your perspective is the highest perspective, because now you're tapped into this amazing source consciousness and everyone else is not good enough. And that feels lonely. And again, it's that black hole insatiable need for being heard and seen as amazing, awakened being. That's the shadow side of the great attractor. But we go with the first version that I described, where we are happily embracing everyone else's leadership if they're resonating on this frequency of inclusion, acceptance, one with all. And when we get to that point, naturally life will start guiding us towards recognizing the ultimate truth of our being, the Shapley, the early degrees of Scorpio, where because we feel that connection with all that is, we recognize others in that same space, we get to a point where we have nothing really to lose because we are already connected to all that is. There's nothing we need really. We are simply being. And for people who are not yet healed, they may find it very triggering, intimidating. It's a very powerful frequency to be in, at that early degrees of Scorpio. In its shadow side, the black hole, people will manipulate others. That early Scorpio anchored in a natal chart of someone who is service to self. These people can misuse and abuse their natural ability to see into the souls of others. If you have early degrees of Scorpio, you are a walking lie detector. You can see, sense, feel people's inner, deepest motivations. So you can misuse that for your own benefits. So that's the shadow side of it. And again, it's never ending, insatiable need for powerful, intense connections where you almost want to merge with others. But that's the black hole that keeps consuming things. If you get to the higher expression of it, it's that ultimate truth of just being, holding space, witnessing, not needing anything because you are already one with all that is. And truth must be acknowledged, must be shared, must be felt, must be heard. That's the power of Shapley in its fullest expression. So for anyone you work with, or for your own chart, or for anyone else's, if you identify these points in natal chart, what are the life areas where these points fall into? And how can we embody these high cosmic frequencies in a way that is harmonious and healthy? I wrote individual lessons for each point and delineation of meaning as I understand it, as I feel it, as I translate it through people's charts based on the planet and based on house and based on aspects as well. So it's very detailed. And I've done several interviews on talking about all 4 points and giving description on each of the meaning. And it's a question that keeps coming up. So I think some things cannot be said often enough. And it's each time when we say a little bit differently, things click deeper and we gain deeper understanding. So I appreciate you asking it.